Hello, today I want to talk about Barack Obama and why I believe Barack Obama loves the gay community more than he loves the black community. And there's nothing wrong with loving the gay community, but I'm just trying to juxtapose it with regards to his behavior during the Black Lives Matter struggle. Now, you see, in Nigeria, we have a particular issue. I'm Nigerian, and there's a terrorist sect in Nigeria called Boko Haram. Now, a lot of people, there's so much inaccuracies about Boko Haram. Their real name is Jama al-Sunnah Lead Dawa wal Jihad. Now, it was a largely peaceful and sometimes reactionary Muslim Islamic fundamentalist group. It was founded in 2002 by a gentleman called Muhammad Yusuf, who was a charismatic leader. He feared God and he was pious. Now, he was not just a violent person. No, he was a Muslim cleric, and he wanted to revive the pious Islamic scholarship that they had in the Kano and Bornu Empire in Nigeria. Now, it was not until the Nigerian state unwisely, murdered Muhammad Yusuf. I think it was on July 30th, if I'm not mistaken, 2009, that Boko Haram began to metamorphose into a violent movement under the leadership of the madman called Abubakar Shekau. Now, between that time, 2009, when Muhammad Yusuf was killed, and 2011, Boko Haram was more of a nuisance. They did not have the capacity to wage the insurgency they are now waging. But all of that changed in 2011. And the reason being is that Muammar Gaddafi maintained a covert foreign legion of mercenaries from just basically all parts of Africa. People like Charles Taylor, the former president of Liberia, and Fode Sanko, a former Sierra Leonean rebel leader, they were once part of that force, and they received military training in Libya. Some Nigerians, I'm not going to mention names because I know some of these people who also received training in Libya. Now, Gaddafi hired mercenaries from the northeast of Nigeria, as well as Chad, Mali, Niger, and other sub-Saharan African nations. They were camped in forbidden cities in Libya. And what happened is, when the Obama administration decided to move against Gaddafi unleashed his mercenaries. And obviously, what happened? Gaddafi was killed in 2011, and the mercenaries began to unravel. They went back to their countries with huge cache of arms. And that's what happened in Boko Haram. That's when Boko Haram metamorphosed into a serious fighting group that had the capacity to threaten the Nigerian states. Now, if you see, between July 2009 and December 31st, 2010, it was just very little that Boko Haram was able to do. I think they did a prison break in Bauchi, a state in Nigeria, and one other thing. But you see, after the fall of Obama in 2011, after the fall of Gaddafi in 2011, they began to be more sophisticated because they had weapons coming in from Libya. They had men who had been trained in severe warfare. So we had the police headquarters bombing, and I think that was in August of 2011. You also had you had the United Nations bombing. The police bombing was, I think, in July. The United Nations bombing was in August, and then you had the St. Teresa's Christmas Day massacre in 2011, where the Boko Haram bombed the church. Now, what happened, you see, is that as a result of Obama's policies, he had destabilized Libya, and that destabilization was spreading and going southwards. So it was affecting West Africa. And so Nigeria needed weapons. And Obama would not sell weapons to Nigeria to fight Boko Haram. He was citing the Leahy Law. But that was it was a ruse. The real thing is that Obama had a deal with the LGBTQ community in America that he was going to move against any administration that was against legalizing gay marriage. And in Nigeria, the Nigerian government under former President Jonathan had criminalized gay marriage and said 14 years if you were gay, or rather if you tried to marry as a gay person. And so Obama, in trying to please the LGBT community, refused to sell weapons to Nigeria, though he caused the insurgency. Boko Haram, the metamorphosis of Boko Haram into an Islamic insurgency with terrorists, with weapons, it was caused by Obama. It was and he caused this, and yet he refused to sell weapons to Nigeria. He even went further when Nigeria got desperate and tried to get weapons from Israel. He threatened Israel that if Israel sold weapons to Nigeria, that he will not stop. He will stop selling weapons to Israel. So you see, now just look at that. He was trying to force a regime change in Nigeria because he wanted to get rid of former President Jonathan, who was against legalizing gay marriage, and then put in a new administration headed by Muhammadu Buhari, who was just going to make that law redundant. Now, but what I'm just trying to say is this: is that if Obama had done what he did for the gay community, the LGBTQ community, for the black community, the Black lives would have mattered long before now. I mean, it's hypocritical for Obama to say, but I mean, he's now championed the cause of Black Lives Matter. It's very hypocritical because Obama did very little or nothing for the black community while he was president. He concentrated his efforts on the gay community. Now, and he might have reason for doing that, but why didn't he help the black community? If you recall, I believe it was on July 27th of 2015, he lit up the White House with the LGBTQ community's colors. You can Google that. Now, what did he do for the black community? What did he do for Africa? Look, former President George W. Bush, through the PEPFAR, the Presidential Initiative for Rolling Back AIDS, he paid for HIV/AIDS drugs in Africa for 25 years. So if you're in Africa, you have HIV/AIDS, your drugs are paid, they're free. Any sub-Saharan country, African country. Bill Clinton, he helped promote African trade with AGOA, the African Growth Opportunity Act. Now, I'm asking you, if you're a black person, if you're an African or an African American watching this, what tangible thing did Obama do for the black community in America and for black Africans in Africa? Little or nothing. I mean, so that's the hypocrisy of Obama. You see, when he was in power, he had 8 years to make Black Lives Matter when he mattered. He didn't do that. And now he's championing the cause of Black Lives Matter. It doesn't make any sense. This is hypocrisy of the highest level. And that's why I wanted to bring this out so that Nigerians and Africans and African Americans will know that this man doesn't have their interest at heart. Now, my name is Reno Omokri. If you watch this video and you have issues coming out of it, you can send me an email, info@renoomokri.org, or you can just subscribe to my YouTube channel, Reno's Masterclass. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.